Picture this: person 1 drives a leased luxury SUV, live in a big house in a fancy zip code, wears a nice watch, takes 2 international vacations a year, and looks very successful. Person 2 drives a Ford that is 10 years old, live in a modest house they bought decades ago, wears a Timex, gets an $18 haircut, and shops at TJ Maxx. Which one is the millionaire? If you guess person 1 like everyone else, you're wrong. Person 2 is the millionaire. 9 times out of 10. In Stanley and Danko's book, The Millionaire Next Door, published in 1996, shown with 2 decades of research surveying and interviewing thousands of American millionaires, and over 4 million copies sold since, completely demolished the entire cultural image of what a millionaire actually looks like. Today, 5 lessons from this book that you can take with you, so you can practice what real millionaires act like in 2026. The single sentence that defines this entire book is this: wealth is not the same as income. If you make a good income every year and spend all of it, you are not getting wealthier. You are just living high. This sounds obvious once you hear it. It is not obvious to most people living inside their own paycheck, which is exactly why Stanley found something startling in his research. Among the top 20% of income earners in America, their average savings, excluding their home, was under $60,000. The book documents a real case study of a surgeon earning an enormous income while spending it just as fast, on luxury cars, designer everything, 5-star vacations, and accumulating almost nothing. Stanley found that 2/3 of doctors, despite averaging well over $140,000 a year, even by 1990s standards, accumulated relatively little wealth for their income level. High income and high net worth are simply not the same category, and confusing them is one of the most common and expensive mistakes people make. Here is the modern version of this lesson: what you see on Instagram and TikTok about people showing off their cars, vacation photos, the designer bags tell you almost nothing about their actual financial position. They often tell you the opposite. The person showing wealth the loudest is frequently the person accumulating the least. The second lesson gives you an actual tool, not just a mindset, and it might be the most useful 5 minutes of this entire video. Stanley and Danko created a simple formula to calculate your expected net worth based on your age and income. Multiply your age by your annual household income and divide by 10. That number is roughly what your net worth should be if you are accumulating wealth at an average rate for someone in your position. People who have twice that expected amount or more are called prodigious accumulators of wealth, or PAWs. People with half that expected amount or less are called under-accumulators of wealth, or UAW. Same income, same age. Very different financial outcomes, purely based on behavior. Here is a concrete example, using the book's own math. A 45-year-old household, earning $120,000 a year, has an expected net worth of $540,000. A prodigious accumulator in that position might have $1 million or more, while an under-accumulator, in the exact same income and age bracket, might have $270,000 or less. Stanley found that prodigious accumulators typically accumulate at least 4 times the wealth of under-accumulators at the same income level. The difference is not the paycheck. It is what happens to the paycheck after it arrives. Here is the update worth knowing for 2026. The ratio between home prices and income has shifted dramatically since 1996, when the median home cost about 3.4 times the median household income. Today that ratio is closer to 6 times. This does not break the formula, but it does mean building the expected net worth requires more disciplined saving than it did for Stanley's original Millionaires, simply because the baseline cost of living has moved. Try the formula on your own numbers. It will tell you in about 10 seconds whether your habits are working for you or against you, regardless of how big your paycheck is. The third lesson is the behavioral engine underneath the entire prodigious accumulators versus under-accumulators, which is frugality. Stanley's millionaires were not people who happened to have more money left over. They were people who deliberately budgeted, tracked their spending, and treated living below their means as a discipline, not a temporary sacrifice. Half of the millionaires in his research had lived in the same house for more than 20 years. Most drove ordinary cars, bought at ordinary prices, and kept them for years rather than upgrading on a cycle. The mechanism working against most people is something researchers now call hedonic adaptation. The happiness boost from a raise or a new purchase typically fades within 4 to 6 months. That new $300 a month car payment feels completely normal by the end of the first quarter. The bigger apartment becomes the new baseline within a single season. But the financial cost of each of these escalations does not fade the way the excitement does. Compounds in the wrong direction, quietly, for decades. This is precisely the mechanism separating prodigious from underaccumulators at the same income levels. The prodigious accumulators built systems that prevented lifestyle creep before it started. The underaccumulators often spent their raises before the first paycheck at the new salary even cleared. Here is the honest 2026 stat worth noting. 74% of people today believe more money would solve their financial problems. But Stanley's research, and the decades of data since, says this is usually false, because spending scales with income automatically unless you deliberately build a system that prevents it. The system, and not the raise, is what actually changes your trajectory. The fourth lesson pushes back directly on one of the most common excuses people give themselves for not pursuing wealth, which is the assumption that the wealthy mostly inherited it. Stanley's data says otherwise. Fewer than 25% of the millionaires in his research ever received a gift of $10,000 or more from their parents. 91% never received any ownership stake in a family business as a gift. The overwhelming majority were first-generation wealthy, meaning they built their net worth themselves rather than inheriting it. The occupational pattern is surprising too. Roughly 60% of the millionaires in Stanley's original research were self-employed business owners, not high-income doctors, lawyers, or corporate executives. In fact, the book found that high-income professionals like doctors and lawyers actually ranked worse, on average, for wealth accumulation than median business owners, largely because of the status trap. The social pressure on high-income professionals to look the part, buying the big house and the luxury car to match a professional image, which quietly consumes the income that could have been building wealth instead. The practical takeaway for 2026: your path to wealth does not require an inheritance, a trust fund, or a family business handed down to you. It requires the specific behaviors this book documents, the behaviors that are equally available to a small business owner, a teacher, an engineer, or anyone else willing to apply them consistently over time. The fifth and final lesson is where the book's investing philosophy comes through, and where the 2026 update matters most. Stanley's millionaires were predominantly self-directed, long-term stock and bond investors. They were not day traders. They were not chasing hot tips. They invested consistently, held for the long term, and let their portfolios compound quietly over decades, the same principle behind everything we cover on this channel about index fund investing. Here is the honest update worth flagging. Index funds were still a relatively niche product when Stanley wrote this book in 1996, so it does not specifically cover the low-cost, broadly diversified index investing that dominates smart portfolio construction today. If you are building wealth in 2026, the modern equivalent of Stanley's disciplined stock-picking millionaires is dollar-cost averaging into a low-cost total market index fund. The number that shows this principle still working today. As of mid-2025, there were 595,000 Americans with $1 million or more in their 401k account alone, up 27% in a single year. These are not lottery winners or inheritors. They are disciplined long-term contributors whose consistency produced the result. The Millionaire Next Door demolished the stereotype of what wealth actually looks like, and 30 years of additional data has only reinforced its core argument. 5 lessons that apply directly to your life in 2026. 1. Wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. Showing off success tell you almost nothing about someone's actual financial position and often signal the opposite. 2. Use the PAW versus UAW formula, which is age times income divided by 10, tells you your expected net worth in about 10 seconds, and where you land relative to it matters more than your salary alone. 3. Live well below your means. Deliberately, hedonic adaptation means the excitement from a raise fades in months, but the cost of the lifestyle creep it triggers compounds for decades. 4. Most wealth is built, not inherited. The overwhelming majority of self-made millionaires in this research received little to no inheritance, And this path remains available to anyone regardless of family background. And 5. Disciplined, patient investing beats chasing trends. Stanley's Millionaires stayed the course for decades, and the modern version of that discipline is simply consistent contributions to a low-cost, diversified index fund. None of these lessons require a specific salary, a specific degree, or a specific family background. They require the behaviors this book spent 20 years proving actually work, regardless of what year it happens to be. If this summary changed how you picture the word millionaire, hit the like button, subscribe for more no-jargon book breakdowns, and go run the PAW formula on your own numbers. You might already be closer than you think, or you might have just found exactly what to fix. See you in the next one.